You look a little bit Kaczynski, and the beard's not helping. But this one little crazy man hair on the replay is just sticking out there like, the government is watching. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ignition News. Got a little bit dressed up today with my pink tie. The hair's not helping, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about small issues of vanity. I was listening shortly before the show started. I was listening to Cher. What an icon. And I was thinking about a different era of America and the boomers who are largely in control of our government and the social contract right now. And I was just thinking to myself about all the people, about their constant, I forgot to go live on Substack. Hold on, this is important. I was thinking about their constant war on culture, the boomers, of course, yes? And then I was thinking to myself of all of the people that the boomers grew up with, and how did we find ourselves here? How have we found ourselves with these lead poison boomers? No offense to any boomers who are not lead poisoned who listen to the show. There's look at this beard today. Mike, I gotta get a beard trimmer. Anyways, no offense to the boomers who no doubt watch our show. According to the metrics, it's like 15% of you. Thank you. 15%. Love you. I love you. Thank you. Your brain is not poisoned by the lead. But I was thinking back, especially listening to Cher, right? Cher is like the most manly woman ever. Like, she's a boss babe, right? So you got Cher, who's literally, she has that famous quote from Cher. Let's look it up. Famous quote, Cher. Okay, I'm going to do my best Cher voice. My mom said to me, sweetheart, one day you should settle down and marry a rich man. And I said, Mom, I am a rich man. That's my best Cher. I'm sorry. That's the best I could do. But yeah, so you got the boom. So you got, the point's going to land. So just stick with me. We're in the air. We're building the plane as we fly it. But the boomers are waging this war, right? On culture. And you got Cher leading out in the front. They should have learned from this woman. Yes. And then let's look at some of their icons. Elvis Presley. Okay. Elvis Presley wore these giant sequin fucking glittery fucking gold shit sunglasses, hair up to there. Who else? David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, right? Okay. Prince, Freddie Mercury, Mick Jagger, Aerosmith, dude looks like a lady. They have lost their minds. Where did they go so wrong? Elton John, that's right. Elton John, Benny and the Jets. Boy George, Harry Styles. Who else? Who are we missing? Lou Reed. Who do we got? I know we're missing a few people. I don't want to miss it. These bands from the 80s, go back and look. This is where it went wrong. Okay? Metallica cut their hair and the culture changed. Do you remember this? That's when everything changed. Metallica cut their hair. They started suing kids at colleges, downloading music, and the culture changed. The point is, I don't know how we got here. How did we get here where these same boomers have elected the man that they call the most masculine man on earth, macho, right? And he wears a full face of makeup. He wears little high heel things. He's constantly going around doing weird phallic things to his microphone. And these are the people that are afraid of gay people. These are the people that are afraid of trans kids. These are the people that say that they're putting litter boxes in classrooms. How did we get here? David Bowie, Prince, George Michael. These people had all the best role models. Go back and look at any man from an 80s rock band. Okay? Go look at them in their beautiful, long, well-done hair. They look almost indistinguishably better than some of these crazy MAGA people. I'm just saying, I don't know how we got here. All I know is where we're going. Kiss is another good example. Another Cheap Trick, another good example. How did we get here? These people had why did they resist the culture that they were raised in? They talk about culture all the time, do they not? This is a war on culture, a war on white culture. That was their culture. Are you kidding me? Their culture was Mick Jagger standing on stage with sequin fucking, what do you call it? I don't know, the little dangly rope things. Ozzy, great example. Megadeth, great example. Keep them coming. They keep talking about this war on the culture, yes? They were worshiping men dressing like women for most of their adult lives. They idolized them. Some of them were groupies for them. How did we get here? Well, I don't know. But all I know is where we can go and how we go forward. Good morning. Welcome to the Ignition News. I started my rant a little bit early. I went into rant before the news, so let's get into it. I have just 3 stories today. I do need to ask you a favor. Please, if you're following the show, I need you to go find us on your favorite podcasting platform, Apple, Spotify, whatever other, you know what I mean? We're a podcast of the news. It's good to have you here. The purpose of the news that we provide is very focused. It's to keep you in the game on your democracy, to protect and empower you to have conversations in your community, and to keep it real. And, we're going to close out with why we do what we do today. But it is February 27th today. Let me check and see if anyone has any other. ABBA? Yes. Glam rock? Yeah, Prince said the revolution would start in Minneapolis. Did he really say that? I did not know. We got a good crowd today. A lot of people chatting in the comments today. I really appreciate it. Nonetheless, while you're commenting on your favorite glam rock bands or drag bands or 80s hair bands or male rock and roll stars who dressed very, very well with their long hair and makeup, and they looked great. They looked great. This is the thing. Have you seen, let me just tell you, go download an album cover from the 80s, these boomer MAGA people in their prime, and then go look at these boomer MAGA people on a cruise ship. Something fell apart. That's all I'm going to say. It is Friday, February 27th. I want to give you some history and let's get into the news. Big day today, and it ties in directly to what I'm talking about on the news. It is 1933 and the Reichstag fire. The German parliament building was destroyed by arson. This event served as the catalyst for the Reichstag fire decree, which suspended basic liberties, including freedom of speech. It is a textbook case of how a government uses a false flag event, pay attention, to radically consolidate power. It is the ratification on this day in 1951 of the 22nd Amendment. Crucial check on the executive branch. What else? Abraham Lincoln's Cooper Union speech today. It was the 30th and okay, do you feel old yet? Today is the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. People magazine also debuted today in 1974. Famous people born today: John Steinbeck, Ralph Nader, and Elizabeth Taylor. Another boomer example. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ignition News. I'm so happy that you're here. It's so great to have you on the show. We are streaming live. Let's check in with our live audience. We're streaming live on YouTube, Substack, Spotify, Apple, somewhere else. Twitch. Let's see if we got any comments. Oh, someone talks about poison. Yes, another one. Another great example. Another comment from YouTube. Let's get into this, the news, everyone. Okay. First, I want to talk about, just tying back to the story yesterday, we talked about the 56-year-old man in Buffalo, New York. I want to bring up some additional details. We talked about how this 56-year-old man who had survived a genocide in Myanmar is arrested because he is blind and he doesn't speak English. The police arrest him on someone else's porch. He couldn't afford a cane, so he's walking around with a curtain rod as a cane. Yes. He gets arrested because the police can't speak to him. He doesn't speak English, and he's blind, so he can't comply. So they attack him about that. And he is actually charged, I think, with assault on a police officer. He spends 13 months in a county lockup. The reason he spent 13 months is because his family didn't want to release him, because if they released him, ICE would have taken him on a detainer, and he could have been deported to a third world country. Remember, this is right during the time period when people are getting abducted to Venezuela. Well, I gotta get a beard trimmer. I can't keep doing this without a beard trimmer. My beard is officially out of control today. I'm so sorry. Anyways, it's distracting me. Anyways, so he is arrested, held in detention. They release him finally. They work out a deal with ICE. And yet still, once he's released from jail, there's an automated notification system that goes out to Customs and Border Patrol, DHS, because anytime someone who's an immigrant gets released from jail, this is interesting, they automatically notify ICE. So ICE picks this guy up. They try to detain him, but they realize that because of the court order, they can't detain him. So they drop him off 5 miles from his house in the middle of winter. He's blind. He can't speak English. They drop him off at a Tim Hortons. He dies. He dies in the cold American streets. He had survived a genocide, police brutality. He survived 13 months in a county jail. I just want to point out to you, as much as we talked about him surviving a genocide, a county jail in the United States of America is on par with some of the worst prison conditions in the world. It really is. We're talking in some of these jails, it's 13 people in a box with a toilet in the middle of the room. You get out of the room for 1 hour a day. County jails are not good places. So of all the things he survived, the fact that he, a semi-blind man who couldn't speak English, just survived for 13 months in a county jail is a testament to how strong this man was. Nonetheless, they drop him off in the middle of the winter. And I know we talk about DHS. I'm sorry, I'm really on one today. I know we talk about DHS. Clearly DHS did something wrong here, but I can't help but think of all of the human beings he found along the way. Why did no one help this man? Why did no one help this man? I would present to you it is because this administration, this president, these people who have built this agenda of hate, they have demonized the immigrant community. People don't feel safe helping immigrants in this country. It is not far removed from what happened to the Jews in Germany, becoming illegal to shelter or to hide the Jews. And if you think that's far off, then ask yourself the question, why did no one help this poor, blind man who survived a genocide trying to get home in the middle of winter? Why did no one help him? But the story I want to tell you is not just about him. DHS, Kristi Noem's department, had this to say. The agents offered him a courtesy ride to a warm, safe location near his last known address. That was the Tim Hortons. They're saying it was a warm, safe location. They say he didn't need assistance. Oh, really? So now people are telling Kristi Noem something very clear. Kristi Noem, it's time to lawyer up. It's time to lawyer up. This is a dereliction of duty. Members of Congress are saying this. Members of the community are saying this. This is not border security. These are human rights violations. And guess what? When you're at the top of the agency responsible for human rights violations, you're responsible for those human rights violations. And so like members of Congress, like members of the community, and like his surviving family, by the way, I too would recommend that you find a really good lawyer. A really good lawyer. Let's move on to the next story. Speaking of lawyers, moderator Cat, I'm going to get to that in a second. Thank you. I want to talk about the midterm elections. Got to kind of book along here. We have to start saying plainly what is happening with the midterm elections. The president of the United States is planning a coup d'etat using the legal mechanisms of the United States of America. Several people have outlined the blueprint. I'm going to read to you the blueprint that I think is most likely, and we can actually reference the 2020 election. Good luck for TikTok staying online. TikTok, it's probably going to get shut down. You can find us on Twitch. So in 2020, they tried to say that China rigged the election. That was one of the mechanisms the president was going to use to declare an emergency declaration. So here's the blueprint. Trump issues an executive order declaring an election security emergency. He uses this to ban mail-in voting. He requires voter ID and ends early voting. The courts try to push back, and they do issue stays, but remember how long the tariff fight took. It took months. The tariff fight started in April. We are closer to the election than we were from April until now. You realize this, yes? It took the Supreme Court from April until February. 10 months. The elections are in 9 months. If Trump rolls out this emergency voting order, exactly. If he rolls out this emergency voting order weeks before Election Day, the courts simply will not have time to stop him before the ballots are cast. So he ends mail-in voting, which he's already said. These are things he said he's going to do. The Constitution does not give the president power how elections are run. States run elections. He has zero constitutional authority, but he doesn't need authority. All he needs is time and chaos. And this is what they do. We'll get to that in a minute. And if the emergency orders don't work, by the way, here's the next scenario. Trump declares an emergency and he postpones the elections entirely. And the Supreme Court issues a stay, but Trump has no obligation to follow it because guess what? The Supreme Court doesn't have an army. The Supreme Court does not have ICE. ICE, who now, if you've been listening to the show, you will know has been stockpiling $30 million worth of ammunition and enough weapons to be the third largest army on the planet. Now, separately, you have the gerrymandering thing happening. You have Texas redistricting, California redistricting. And then, of course, there's Article 1, Section 5, the nuclear option. This is buried in the Constitution. It says the House of Representatives gets to judge the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members. By the way, this means if Democrats win the House narrowly in November, say by a few seats, Speaker Mike Johnson, under pressure from Trump, could simply refuse to seat enough Democrats which he already has done to flip the majority back. This has happened before. In 1984, a Democrat-controlled House used this exact mechanism, by the way. 1984. The playbook is out there for a coup d'etat. Ban mail-in voting, voter ID, same-day voting. These are things he is saying out loud. This is not a fucking conspiracy. Go listen to what he's saying, not what I'm saying. He wants to ban mail-in voting. He wants to require voter ID, and he wants same-day voting. Every election for the last 10 years, I've voted by mail or voted early. Who does this impact? People who can't take a day off. People who don't know where their polling place is. People who cannot afford to stand in line for 10 hours to cast their vote. This is what a fascist tyranny looks like. This is what a coup looks like. A legal stealing of the elections. And it's time to call it out for what it is. So we're going to be releasing more information on this because I'm not going to be silenced about this. We're going to teach you what you can do. In fact, we have been doing this already. How you can get to know who is your most hyper-local elected official. Who is the person in your city or your county whose only job it is to count the fucking ballots? Do you know who that person is? Because I can promise you, MAGA knows who that person is. And they are actively working on this right now. And Hakeem Jeffries right now, how is he spending his time? I can tell you exactly how he's spending his time. He's using his time to funnel AIPAC money through his election fundraising system to bundle AIPAC donations from a massive web of AIPAC donors to take down progressive candidates. Hakeem Jeffries is more worried about Democrats than he is about the president stealing the election. Because guess what? There will always be Democrats in a MAGA coup, in a fascist United States of America, in a fake democracy. There will always be Democrats because of the obtuse fact that there has to be. There has to be some illusion. There has to be some version that looks like it is legitimate. And where this should outrage you is the fact that once you finally realize Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, their life changes nothing. If the president maximizes his grip on power and becomes a tyrant, fully becoming a fascist country, they are still elected officials with enormous access to power, opportunity, but most importantly, wealth. While your rights are stripped away, while your friends and neighbors are pulled from the streets, nothing about their life changes in any fundamental way. In fact, in many ways, it becomes better. More money, less resistance. Do you know who hates left resistance the most? President. The president doesn't even talk about it anymore. Do you know who's talking about how much they hate resistance on the left right now? Elected Democrats. Elected Democrats are focusing more on what they call the radical left than they are on policy to protect you, than they are on defunding ICE, than they are on protecting the elections. That should tell you everything you need to know. I'm not going to have time to get into the rest of the stories today, but I do want to bring you a little update. This is direct from, what do we got? We got Moderator Cat gave us an update here. Oof. Breaking news. Scouts remove all references to DEI activities. Scouting America discontinued the Citizenship in Society merit badge due to policy changes. This discontinuation is tied to a memorandum of understanding with the Pentagon to maintain military support for the Boy Scouts. Interesting. So effective today, the Boy Scouts can no longer start the Citizenship in Society merit badge. We have a Boy Scout in our house, so this is important to us. So even the Boy Scouts are getting rid of DEI. Interesting. How does this all tie together? Well, it ties together in the same way that we usually tie things together, which is we have to accept that there is no one coming to save us. No one came to save that 56-year-old man who died on an American street. None of your representatives, whether that is your city council or Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries or former President Barack Obama, none of them are going to be on the line to protect this democracy. They are sleepwalking into fascism. This may be the last free and fair election of your adult life. And I am not joking. I would not say that if I did not think it was true, but I really do. I really fundamentally think that if we do not protect this specific election, we may never in our adult lives see a free and fair election again. So it requires you to get in the work now, to understand what is happening in your community now, to be a champion of your local elections, of your city elections, your county elections, and your state elections. You need now to find out who is the person in your county and in your state who is responsible for ensuring that your elections are fair, and you need to do what your Democrat elected officials are not doing, which is you need to now Demand and hold them accountable now. And it is not just about villainizing these people or saying that they did anything wrong. That's not the playbook. These people need to know that we will protect them, that we will defend our democracy, that we will have their backs when the president tries to come at our local elections or when he tries to use Congress to invalidate legitimate elections or to ban mail-in voting. Your local elected officials need to know that they are expected to be out front and that we will be with them, but they cannot sit and wait around anymore. That time has passed. Right now, we are all the same as that stateless. If you think about it, this man who died from Myanmar, he was stateless. I would argue right now that if you're not in the 37% of America that actively supports this administration, I would argue to you that you are stateless. Someone made a death threat to me the other day, a very clear death threat. Who am I supposed to report that to? Kash Patel? Who is going to investigate the person who wants to kill me? Pam Bondi? So my very life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, I am a stateless man. I am. I have no protections under the Constitution. Do you think Pam Bondi is going to investigate the man who threatened to throw me out of a helicopter, who I believe would do that given the opportunity, by the way? Do you think Kash Patel is going to fly his jet down to Las Vegas, which he actually lives in Las Vegas? Do you think he's going to ask the FBI to investigate the man who threatened to shoot me or throw me out of a helicopter? Absolutely not. And so I am a stateless man in my own country. I have a driver's license, I have ID, I pay my taxes, but I am stateless. And you are most likely stateless as well. And that is why we must go to the front and protect this country. Of course, my lawyer would want me to remind you, blah, 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 the Ignition News, we're nonviolent resistance. But whether that is the Boy Scouts or the immigrants or the trans individuals, or the gay community, the veterans, the disabled, if you do not actively support this administration, you are stateless. But the thing about being 63% of a country that is stateless is that you have the majority, the apparatus of the will of the people to craft and control your own destiny, carve and protect your own safety, your own state, and most importantly, potentially the last and final free and fair election if we don't protect it. I know it might be gloomy to hear this news today, but I wouldn't tell you this save for one reason. I believe you can do this. I believe you can stand up for your country. And I believe that we can persist. It's February 27th. This is the Ignition News. Hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you back tomorrow. Good show.